Hello, everybody. This shouldn't be too long. Um, so, in terms of the two witnesses, uh, different words can be like the dead letter, and we give them life. And so, when I look at the spots of the two witnesses, when I look at the two witnesses in Joshua, I look at that as Zoroaster and Yehohanan ben Hagios. So, let me explain. And Judah and Tamar, there's a prophecy of twins to be born. You have Zerah, the Zoroastrians, and fire. And then he pulls his hand back, and then Perez comes out. Now I'm going to explain Perez. If you remember, John the Baptist said that one day I will return, and the spirit will come back, and it will come out of the rock. Now, once I described that as how they took the Ten Commandments, the stone that was rejected, and how they basically rewrote it a bunch of times and wrote a bunch of law. And then what ended up happening was the spirit was crucified, so to speak, within the stone. Or I can look at that in the real world and notice how he said he'll return one day through the word and spirit. And here I am with the Hispanic name Wani, Yanez Wani, with the name they won't understand, Yehohanan, Yehovah, and Juan Bruce JB, Yad V6. it's like weird how this is working out. Um, so the way I look at the Judah and Tamar prophecy, you would have had, and I almost likened Muhammad to be the one that resurrected Elijah, which makes sense because they ended up warring the prophets of Baal. But the reason I don't like saying that is because they turned it into the Prince of Persia. And so each man returned, so to speak. I am here on behalf of John, and I believe Muhammad was here on behalf of Zoroaster, refining the kingdom, so to speak. But what ends up happening is you have Peter and Paul, the Protestants and the Catholics, that went nuts. And so, I mean, I've said before, Islam at certain points brought a lot of Jewish people in. They ended a lot of segregation. There was different taxes and stuff. That's man, you know what I mean? But basically, a lot of people disagree with me with this, but I believe Zoroaster was Elijah, the one that had the fire, and he was the poet that brought a lot of these prophets together. And then Muhammad came and fulfilled it. John the Baptist, the one with the water, came and fulfilled a lot of this stuff. And then I had to come later with the fire, so to speak, and refine this stuff. And so if you think of that, look, so then what I did was, this is just for me personally, my 7 archangels in my hand, because I said it's the other 7 commandments in terms of that book, and the first 3 are the lamb, and the sword is the words we possess, or the staff, so to speak. Mentuhotep 2 or Ham, and outside of these physical names, actually in the Bible, these people helped me, so to speak. Ham taught me to uncover the truth and tell the truth about it. Moses, that drew me from the rivers, from the Pharaoh's kingdom, the 10 Commandments. Joshua, that fought the kings of AI, artificial intelligence, off the flesh to help, redeem it. David's Psalms and Solomon's instructions and wisdoms, Ecclesiastes. Actually, something that really helped me out, a time for everything. I say things about Solomon, but those words help me out a lot. A lot of people get depressed from the Proverbs and stuff, and I don't understand why, because I understand it because they're living by dead words, so to speak, instead of giving what they need to life. Elijah, who I call Zoroaster, and then John, Yehohanan ben Hagios, who I call Raphael sometimes. So then you look at that, Muhammad and Juan would be the living representations of what Zoroaster and John the Baptist did. And so I'm not talking about the institution of where the Muslims have went to in terms of violence and Sharia and laws, but I am here to refine and help my brothers. And so let me actually write that in here real quick. Actually, I'll put that up here and where I put this. So then if I'm going to put Yanez and Juan, I'm going to put Muhammad, whose name they drew through the freaking mud. Name drew through mud. I am not innocent of this. The resurrection through word and spirits. Because he said he seen Gabriel, did he not? And I said, that's like Moses, the word. I'm telling y'all. So I'm not saying these are magical angels and stuff. People are taking translations and destroying them through the spirit as Zoroaster. Okay. So we got that right there. So the two witnesses, I believe, from Joshua are Zoroaster and John the Baptist. But then you go even further. I look at these two witnesses from the Revelation. The reason that I say it's William Tyndale and Martin Luther King is because when Joshua did what he did about 1260 years later, you have John the Baptist. When John the Baptist came forth, and in between that time, you have the anointed one will come in the middle of that time. You have Zoroaster, who they called Elijah, and they turn into the Prince of Persia. Zoroaster basically created the four horsemen with the prophets and the poetry. Well, the name did ultimately, but you see what I'm saying through the word and spirit. So then you go even further. So then you have the four horsemen come forth, and I'm going to explain them. You have Isaiah and Jeremiah. So pay attention to this. You have Zechariah, right? Ezekiel, slain by the altar. John the Baptist's dad, Yochanan ben Zakkai, right? Then you have the tribe of Daniel, decked with gold and scarlet. So then those are the four horsemen. To me of the Old Testament. You go down. So I'm going to transliterate a bunch of stuff. This is just based on my knowledge. As I've said before, we are building and learning and growing and understanding from a truthful perspective. So I'm not coming from anybody's side saying this, that. I am edifying history properly from what I have and transliterating things. So then something else that was on my mind, something about Simeon. And I didn't want to write this down and stuff, but it just wanted to, something about Simeon. Simeon and Levi. So Simeon and Levi were the ones that dealt harshly with people, and they were the ones that wrote law. And so if you pay attention, that kind of lived out. They ended up hurting themselves, so to speak. Their law became so violent that they trapped themselves in a violent cage. But then different people like Zechariah and John the Baptist and Zoroaster, different prophets, were trying to come out and free people from this stuff. You see the fire that Zoroaster had, so of course Muhammad was fiery. But then at the same time, I believe he, based on a lot of stuff that I read, Muhammad wasn't a bad guy. He seemed nice. People afterwards keep taking people's garments and going nuts with it, if that makes sense. So then you have, I want you to see a couple other things. Daniel, the tribe of Dan, Gad, Gabriel, Micah, Michael, Asher, goddess of Ashura, Reuben and Naphtali together make Raphael ben 10. That was crazy to me when I saw that. But also outside of that, you have Nefertiti and Ben-Ru. So, son of the Egyptian Ru shrub, the minor god Bes. You guys can look this up. Just like how they turned U-Tree into Jew and turned it into racism. Osiriseth, Yosef, Seth, the sky god, extension of a moon, air. Amen is fully, I'm not going to argue. I see posts talking about Amen doesn't come from Egypt. If you still believe that Amen doesn't come from Egypt, I have nothing to argue about. Benjamin, Ben-Yamin, the son of the Egyptian god of agricultural aspects, fertility, thunder, and rain, Min festival. You guys can look this stuff up. Yamin is, or Min, and the Min festival is an Egyptian thing, but you won't get too much information out of it from the European aspect. So, but they have sites on it and they have stuff talking about it. Zebulun. Zebu is a calf or a cow. If you don't believe me, I want to show you guys this one because I was like, maybe people perhaps won't believe me. So Zebu is a calf, right? And then Lun Mutel, the Egyptian New Kingdom, enthroned Osiris. Osiris, you guys, Horus before him in priestly robes called Lun Matel, Horus, who supports his mother. I'm telling you all these different gods. If you look at Horus, it mimics the Jesus story. And then these different people will be like, I'm a Bible scholar. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Where'd they even get Isi-Ra, Isis Rael, from an Egyptian stele that they tried to read, dude? I'm telling you guys, all their knowledge and information is coming from Egypt. So then the 12 minor prophets to me are the 12 stones put together by Joshua. And then you go even further, and Elijah. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to tell people and how this is working. And when you go down even further, the four horsemen for the from the Revelation to me are the four gospels with the red wine or whatever. And I've talked about this. Nephthali being the queen of Egypt, wed to the Shuas, of YHV, Akhenaten. It was Akhenaten's wife, bro. And I'm telling you all, Akhenaten is the Shua of YHV. So then you go down here, Yehuda, Yehovah, Yahawasha, Yahshua. It's Yehoshua, meaning the salvation of YHV. In Egypt, Shua's in Egypt, Sashu of YHV, the salvation of Yah, I am salvation. That was a Kenaton. I'm trying to tell y'all. Yehovah, Yahweh, Yahoo, I am who I am sent me. John and Juan both had to try to baptize the word. He had the water, I have the fire, so to speak. So I just wanted to transliterate a bunch of stuff and give you guys a little bit of information of what I've been finding out and learning with these different names and stuff that's going on throughout history. You guys would be really surprised. I really think Zoroaster was Elijah, and he brought together a lot of these minor prophets, and so did Yahshua. So yeah, I believe they were split apart after a lot in history had happened when the Asiatic invaders. First, you have the Pharaoh, as I said before, did it to himself with all that Mot and Cain and foolishness. Mot, who I call is Eve, who gave birth to Cain, named Narmer. But then the second brother, who I call Abel, Ham, tried to uncover this and bring the kingdoms together. Then the Hyksos, at the appointed time, Abraham, come and attacked Egypt. Then Amos brought them out. Then they went back into foolery. And then Akhenaten brought them back together. And once again, to who I call Saul, and then different people, it goes down the line. And if you really pay attention and understand this stuff and study from a clear point of view, you will see that people have basically just been playing with words and names over and over and over and over, transliterating stuff and creating new on top of that. How Solomon says, or how Juan Bruce right now is saying, nothing new under the sun happens. It's the same thing over and over because people refuse to open their eyes. As I said before, people first open their eyes, use the word and spirit to go into buffoonery, religious knowledge of good and evil and all sorts of stuff. But now I am opening the eyes. So if you pay attention to that, Uriel and Lucifer. Lucifer transliterates to F Uriel. The wisdom from the beginning coming back saying, guys, open your eyes again. It's time to awaken from death, so to speak, spiritual death. And a lot of it is programming and language, the words we use. I tell people all the time, the things we say, people are prophesying against themselves, writing poetry against themselves and their own story. Wake up and give words of life, love, help, understand the world, make the world better. I'm seeing a lot of resources, advertisements, energy, entertainment just wasted when the world could be saved. Infrastructure could be made better. Geniuses could be risen up from these ghettos and these terrible governments and destroyed countries. What does it matter to gain the whole world, have all this money, then sit on your deathbed and be like, I'm taking it to the grave with me. I hated all my family. Oh no, is heaven real, preacher? I'm telling you all,